Hello everyone, welcome to another session of Class 6 Mathematics, and I am your Anu for MathSchool.1, and today we are going to start the new chapter 3, that is playing with numbers. Now we have already seen some about whole numbers and generally about numbers and the operations and the properties associated with it. And now we'll still move ahead and see what are the things we need to know about numbers. Okay, so now let's get started. Now let me take a number 10. Okay, so I see 10 here as a number. It's a whole number, it's also a natural number, and I see it as a whole number. Now how do I visually represent this 10? Okay, so I can represent this as a set of objects, say stars, isn't it? See, I can say there are 10 stars here, and I have represented this number 10 as some physical object here, isn't it? I've represented here it as an object, and I am able to see 10 stars, and they are arranged in a particular fashion that 5 stars occupy each row. Okay, so how many rows do they have? They have 2 rows, and how many stars in each row? There are 5 stars. So this is how I represent 10. And there is also another method, isn't it, by which I can represent see, now I have represented 10 circles in a single row. So this is also a method of representing the number 10, isn't it? So there is only one row and there are 10 circles in it, isn't it? Now let me arrange this box or these stars in yet another way. So how can I represent these 10 stars in yet another way? See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now this also represents 10, isn't it? Now the 10 stars are arranged in 5 rows so that each row occupies 2 stars, isn't it? Now let me arrange this 10. So let me try to arrange this 10 in another way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So do you find any other way of representing this 10? Yes, it can be represented in many ways, but my motive is I should represent 10 in such a way, if I arrange them in rows or in columns, they should have equal number of the objects in rows and columns, isn't it? See, I have arranged it in 2 rows, and or I can also say that I have arranged in 5 columns. But each row has equal number of stars, and here there is a single row, or I can say there are 10 columns in it. Vertical lines are columns and horizontal lines are rows, we know that. So there are equal number of objects in each row or column. Now here there are 5 rows and there are 2 stars in each row, and here there are 10 rows and there is only 1 circle in each row. So I arrange them in a particular fashion that each row consists of equal number of objects. So that is my motive. So what is the idea behind arranging objects in equal numbers in each row? So that, see, I get to multiply 2 into 5. See, if I draw it like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, will I be able to put it in a format? Will I be able to write it in this way, that each row consists of equal numbers, so this much number of rows and each row has this much number of circles or stars in it? No, I won't be able to. So this is not a regular fashion, this is not in a regular way. So I have put it in a particular way so that I will be able to represent it in its product. Okay, the number of rows and the number of objects, and this product will give you the number we have taken here. Do you understand? So why do we arrange it in such a way? Equal number of rows as equal number of objects. So this kind of representation gives us an idea about, see, the numbers whose product represents the given number. See, the 10 can be represented as 2 into 5 or 1 into 10. 2 into 5, 5 into 2, both are same, but I have written it as 2 into 5 and 1 into 10. So there are two ways of arranging 10, or two ways of representing 10 by the numbers, or by the product of some numbers. So what are these numbers called? Now see, 10 can be represented as 2 into 5 or 1 into 10. So what are these numbers called which yield you a product of 10? So the numbers which when multiplied give you a particular value, those numbers are called factors. So what do we mean by factors? So let us study this in detail. So factors, I have told you that one number, like let us take 8. 8 can be represented as 1 into 8, or it can be represented as 2 into 4 or 4 into 2 or 8 into 1. Anyway, these two products are one and the same. We know multiplication is commutative, so they are same. But they can be written in these ways, isn't it? Now, what are these numbers called? Like 1, 2, 4 and 8. Because see, 1, 2, 4, 8 all comes into play when I represent 8. So what are these numbers called? These numbers are called factors. And what are factors? When I observe 1, 2, 4 and 8, see, I have 1 here. When I represented 10, I had 1, 5, sorry, 2, 5 and 10, isn't it? Here too I had 1, isn't it? So for 8 also there is 1, and for 10 also there is 1. So from this, what do we understand? 1 is a factor of every number. I can represent 1 into that number, 1 into this number to get the same number, isn't it? So 1 is a factor of every number. So first thing we find out is 1 is a factor of every number, isn't it? So the second thing is, if I observe, see, 8, for 8 is a factor. For then 10 is a factor, isn't it? So 8, 10, for when I write factors for 8 is there, and when I write factors for 10 is also there in the list. So what do I understand by this? Every number is a factor of itself, isn't it? So every number is a factor of itself. So every number is a factor of itself. Good. Now the third thing is, see, 1 divides 8 exactly, 2 divides 8 exactly, likewise 4 divides 8 exactly, and 8 divides 8 exactly. What do you mean by dividing exactly? That is, it divides the number without leaving any remainder. That is, the remainder becomes 0. So that is what we say, the number divides, the number 1, 2, 4 and 8 divides 8 exactly without leaving any remainder. So every factor is an exact divisor. So what do you mean by divisor? It divides the number, but it divides exactly without leaving any remainder. So that means every factor is an exact divisor. So what do you mean by exact divisor? Without leaving any remainder. So the remainder becomes 0, then we say that it is an exact divisor. Next thing is, I list out some numbers as factors, isn't it? Do you have any other beyond this? Do you have any other number beyond 10 when factors of 10 was listed? No, we don't have. So up to 8, now up to 10. So what does it mean? The factors are always equal to or less than the number. When I find factors of a number, then the factors are always equal to the number or less than that of the number. Okay, so factors are always equal to or less than that of the number, given number, isn't it? Now next is, there are only 4 factors for 8. Likewise, there are 4 factors for 10. So if I take factors of 4, I get 1 4s are 4, then 2 2s are 4, and 4 1s are 4 again. So 1, 2 and 4 are factors of 4. So there are 3 factors of 4. So I'll be able to count the number of factors when a number is given and its factors are asked to find out. So I can count them. What does it mean? The factors are finite. The list is finite. They are not infinite. As the numbers goes on up to infinity, the factors doesn't go on. Okay, it stops somewhere. I can count them. So they are infinite. They are finite. The list is finite. You can say these are the factors. These are just the factors of a number. Okay, so they don't go beyond that, because I said they are equal to or less than. They are equal to that number. So when a number is given, even when some big number is given, it stops with that number. The factor list stops with that number. It doesn't go beyond that. So the factors are finite. So the last one is, the factors are finite. Okay, do you understand? So these are the properties of factors which we ourselves will be able to find out by seeing the factors of a number. So do you understand? So depending on these properties, our knowledge with factors will go on. Now the next thing we need to know is, so these are the properties of factors. Hope you would have understood. We will move further. The next thing is, we have studied about factors, isn't it? So to put it more simply, or to understand it more simply, when I write tables, see, I write tables, 2 1s are 2, 2 2s are 4, 2 3s are 6, 2 4s are 8, likewise and so on I write. So if you see the left hand side, that is the numbers, left hand side to the equal sign, left side of the equal sign and the right side of the equal side, the numbers to the left are the factors. To understand, see, these numbers are factors of this number. 2 and 4 are factors of 8, 2 and 5 are factors of 10, 2 and 3 are factors of 6, and 2 is a factor of 4, and 2 and 1 are factors of 2, isn't it? I think you could understand this. So this will be very simple, or it will be easy for us to understand what our factors are. So these are factors, to the left are factors. And so what are these numbers to the right are called? We know, we just simply say they are products, because when two numbers are multiplied, we get a product. We know the result is a product. But we have some other name which is also called as multiples. Okay, they are called multiples. That is, a number gets multiplied itself to yield another number. See, 2 when multiplied twice will give you 4. If it is multiplied thrice, it will give you 6. So it gets multiplied, 2 gets multiplied to get these numbers. So they are called multiples. Now let us see what are the properties of multiples are. By just seeing the numbers, we say what are multiples. Now let me write the multiples of 3. So 3 1s are 3, 3 2s are 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27 and so on. So now by observing the numbers, we shall write the properties as we did for factors. Now let's see the first number. multiple of 3 is again itself. Isn't it? Every number is a multiple of itself. So we start with 3. 3 ones are 3. 2 ones are 2. 100 ones are 100. So like that, every multiple starts with itself. So we write every number is a multiple of itself. So do you understand? What do I say? Now, the next thing is, so the multiples, how are the multiples? Can you say? It starts with 3. So it is not within 3. It is not less than 3. It starts with 3 and moves forward. So every multiple is equal to or greater than the number. Every multiple is equal to or greater than that of the number. Do you understand? By seeing that we can see. Now, does the list end somewhere? Does the multiple of 3 end somewhere? As the number goes up to infinity, the multiples also is endless, isn't it? It goes on. So the list of multiples or the multiples are infinite, isn't it? They are infinite. They don't end somewhere. They are infinite. They go on. They go as the numbers are. So these are the multiples. These are the properties of multiples we have seen, and let us understand what are factors and what are multiples. So factors are always equal to and less than the number, but multiples are always equal to and greater than the number, whereas factors are finite and multiples are infinite. Okay, so every number is a factor of itself, and multiple is also a factor of, every number is a multiple of itself. And here one thing is missing, that is 1 is a factor of every number, but here 1 doesn't take place because every multiple is greater, equal to and greater than that number. Okay, do you understand? So these are the properties of multiples we have seen. These play a very important role in our further study of numbers, factors and multiples. We use them regularly, and we use them in applications like finding out highest common factor, the HCF, or GCD, greatest common divisor, and the LCM, that is the least common multiple. We do apply in those concepts. So we need to understand what are factors and what are multiples. The lesser number, the numbers that are lesser than the given number, is always a factor, and the number which are greater than that number, equal to and greater than that number, are always multiples. So you need to keep that in your mind. So with this two concepts, factors and multiples, I end this class. In the next class, we'll continue with playing with numbers again with some more concepts. Until then, it's bye from Anu for Mathschool.1. Bye.